With over 50 water attractions, including 40 water slides, Kings Island Soak City Water Park opens for the summer this weekend. Hello, alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans, because that's who we are and that's who we care about. Let's kick this off by thanking our Prestige members. Thank you so much, Miss Mandy, 1983, Little Mac, 21, Brian Hauser, 330T, Logan Lipper, Aaron Bort, Jacob Fix, Damon Barnes, Stephen Horneck, Eric Grau, Ian Crawford, Dustin Jackson, Songstress Miku, Dakota Cole, and Lack Ray. Thank you guys so much for supporting Tower Topics at the highest level. That's the Prestige level. If you want to be involved in Tower Topics, there's a link in the description. Members get early access to the videos, exclusive live streams, exclusive content, and some tiers even get some free stuff. So hit that link in the description.
So, Ryan, it's hard to believe how fast 2025 is going, because this weekend, Soak City Water Park opens for the summer, and there's a lot of fun new things out there.
Yeah, it's funny because I've talked about this before, but the park always opens in waves to me. There's opening day, and then and with opening days, typically the new ride and stuff. Although you might want to argue that the new Kings Island opens them a little bit later, but that's neither here nor there. And then you've got Memorial Day weekend where the water park opens and a bunch of the shows open. And then a couple weeks later, in like mid-June, that's when the bandstand show opens. And then after that, after everything's open, that's when they start doing the interesting stuff, the Grand Carnival and food and wine and things of that sort. But yeah, we definitely track through this stuff a lot more quickly now as I'm getting older.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting things at Soak City, some new attractions that we'll get to. And one of those new this summer, it's Bluegill Lagoon. It's a reimagined old-fashioned swimming hole, complete with a leaky water tower that's perfect for cooling off on those hot summer days. Whether you're jumping in for some fun or just looking to relax, there's plenty of space to stretch out with more loungers, chairs, umbrellas in the sun or the shade. So they've added more shade out there for you. It's a great new spot for families and friends to chill, splash, and soak in those summer vibes. What are your thoughts on this one, Ryan?
That's why they call it Soak City, because you soak in those summer vibes. I think it's good. I feel like the water tower versus the ship. I mean, I'll have to wait to see it, decide which one I like better, although I don't have a very strong opinion either way. But the real winner here is going to be the additional seating. Soak City has always had that problem. Well, most water parks have that problem where there's not enough seating. So if you've got several hundred new ones that you're adding shade is a fantastic thing, because Soak City was, one of the layers of hell from Dante's Inferno, with just how you couldn't get under anything. So I think this is going to be a sleeper hit. I think it's going to be a big win for them, in overall satisfaction.
For the photos that I've seen, that water tower, I mean, it looks amazing, like Disney caliber. But also new this summer at Soak City, and we've talked about this many times already on Tower Topics. It's RiverRacers, so grab a buddy or a rival and go head-to-head on Ohio's only side-by-side racing water coaster, making its debut right here at Kings Island over Memorial Day weekend. So you'll launch side-by-side on rafts from the starting line. You'll drop 33 feet on a wild 47-degree angle and hit speeds up to 30 miles per hour. And yes, it's fast enough to make you question your life choices in the best way. So you can catch a glimpse of your competition, too, while you're going through the giant windows. So just in time to see if you're winning or eating their spray. So it's up into a tunnel lit with cool effects. There's more wild twists and turns, and a high-speed slingshot that whips you around 180 degrees before launching into one final gravity-defying mega drop to the finish. So it sounds, very exciting. It's wet, it's wild, and it's the ultimate bragging rights until the rematch, of course.
Right. Yeah. So this is going to be one where I feel like, as a standalone attraction, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fast. The racing element is very intriguing. But we've mentioned this before. If you've ridden other water coasters, especially regionally, where we're a little water coaster heavy, this may feel like kind of a flash in the pan kind of situation. The only way that it's unique at all is that it's racing. But even at that, you've got the cheetah chase, I think it's called, at Holiday World, which is also chasing. That's got multiple launches and stuff. So I think it'll be a winner for them. I really do. Is this the best possible thing they could have done? No, I think this is good enough.
All right.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So, we're going to talk about the thrills again. So there's tropical plunge. So tropical plunge is one of the most terrifying experiences you can have because you get locked in a coffin-shaped device, a tube, and the floor drops out from under you, and you go through several different waves and turns and stuff like that. That's the only water slide, Don, I've ever seen several people chicken out on while in line. I've seen
And the
people
experience, like you said, no matter how many times you do that, and you know the floor is going to drop, you still can't prepare for that. So I think that adds to the thrill. I think that's one of the one of the best thrill attractions at Kings Island, counting the hard park and the water park. I think is tropical plunge.
Yeah, it makes you think of like an execution, like a hanging at the gallows with the floor dropping out and stuff. But yeah, if you're a thrill seeker, boy, is that for you. And you take the slides. You'd think that the floor falling out would be a gimmick, and it is, but you hit the slide so much faster since you start with like a running start essentially. And I think that's just really cool. So tropical plunge is something I always look forward to for my visits.
Yeah, I love it. It's got, like I said, you got 6 different slides on that too.
You do. And so some of those are raft slides, and those are actually really fun as well.
A lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, the return of Mondu Monsoon, which we kind of speculated may be going away with the addition of the RiverRacers. And I guess, fortunately, the RiverRacers was really small, so they could keep Mondo Monsoon.
Well, yeah, we didn't know it was going to be 530 feet long, so obviously we're thinking, 1,500, 1,600, 1,800 feet long, for a water coaster, and that certainly would have, put the future of Mondu Monsoon in question. But I'm glad it's back.
I am too, and that's the only one of that particular model that I know about. A lot of other places have removed those things, so I'm glad we still have ours. I think that's cool.
Yeah, 4-person raft ride. It's fun to do that one with family and friends. So that's a can't miss for me when you're experiencing Soak City Water Park.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're not into water slides, where can you go, Don?
Well, there's also Tidal Wave Bay. That's a very popular spot out there. So this isn't your average wave pool. The surf here, Crash is bigger and stronger than anywhere else around. Some of the largest wave pools that you're going to be able to experience in the region. So whether you're out there, you're floating around with your friends or you're just going solo, it's just a great time to kind of get out there and have some fun and relax.
Yeah, and after doing that, you've earned a pit stop. So the Island Smokehouse. Now let's talk about the Island Smokehouse. Their bone-in chicken wings are one of 2 places that have acceptable chicken wings for me. But they are so freaking good. They have shrimp, they have they're the saucy hot hand tossed wings, pulled pork. A lot of it's like Coney barbecue, but it does have a lot of stuff that Coney barbecue doesn't, and vice versa. So you have to give this thing a try.
You definitely do. And you mentioned the wings. I eat the regular traditional kind of wings out there. I think, if you're looking at, just in the greater Cincinnati area, it doesn't take a back seat to any other wing place. So if you're a fan of chicken wings, it's worth just going to Kings Island just to have them at the Island Smokehouse.
Perfect. All right. So that's Soak City. Soak City opens Memorial Day weekend, which is May 24th.
Yep, Memorial Day weekend. It'll every operating day through Labor Day. It's a place that a lot of people buy their season pass, whether it's the gold pass, the silver pass, just for Soak City Water Park. You never see these guests, in the main park. It's all about the water park for them, and it's something that they look forward to. And you have regulars out there that just like you do in the park riding the coasters. You have your water park fans that they're out there doing all the attractions out there.
Yeah. All right, Don, let's move on to some Tower Topics tidbits for your information. All right. So the first one being that the Food and Wine Festival returns. And so that returns May 30th. So just a week after Soak City's opening. It runs Friday through Sunday. So it's not every day until June 22nd. While there's not much information about this second year event, it does have a sponsor, Fairfax Credit Union. The sponsor won't get in front of many people if marketed and promoted like last year, but maybe with more eyeballs on it for the team, that since corporate sold a sponsorship, they'll be able to, promote it a little more. Do you think that? So, do you think the value in the Fairfax Credit Union thing is like, because there's no way that they can go and say we had a super successful event, because I think that any idiot who was at the park knows that it flopped last year. Do you think that just the value of like, we're having this event, it's in the park, people are going to see it because it's in the park? Do you think that's the equity in it?
Well, I think part of it too is that some of these other parks that have done these food and wine festivals have had good success with it. So, it might be something that's across the board at all these food and wine festivals, that this is, they're getting a sponsor, for that. I'm interested to see how it goes in year two, if there is more awareness to it. We've talked about the different things they need to do to, get the word out in the beginning, invite all the different, the foodies, bloggers, the food and wine connoisseurs, those people to come out and experience it and write about it, that first weekend. So the word is out going into the final weeks of it. But I'm looking forward to just seeing how that event might grow. We've seen the new area that they're building, that shaded area that's, in that land outside the Grand Carousel where the Liberty Bell used to hang. So, that, from what we understand, is going to be used as part of the Food and Wine Festival. So just seeing how it's evolved, how it's changed, what they've added to it. Is there any other, different types of food that's going to be added to it? Who knows? Maybe they'll add chicken tenders for the kids.
That would be fun. So I looked up Fairfax Credit Union. It looks like it's regional, including Adams, Brown, Butler, Claremont, Clinton, Fayette, Greene, Hamilton, Highland, Montgomery, Preble, and Warren counties. So they definitely didn't sell them to it based on the company-wide thing. So it seems like it's just a Kings Island thing. So it'll be interesting to see that. So if they sponsored it, I wonder if they're able to upkeep the entertainment level, because the event itself, like I said, you and I didn't dry the wine. We're not wine people. I know you had a little bit better experience with the charcuterie, but I had the bread basket and I thought it was horrible. But with that being said, Tower Gardens looked amazing, and the entertainment that they had was really, really good too.
Yeah. So what I didn't like about it was it closed too early last year. They had strung all these lights and everything up in Tower Gardens, but it closed before it got dark. So you never got to experience it, that atmosphere at night being out there. So it's open a little bit later this year. They say it goes till 9 o'clock now. So hopefully, it's still not quite dark, but, hopefully it'll be a little bit better experience than it was last year in terms of the atmosphere.
They may have to make it 9 because that's like last call or something, maybe. I don't know. Right. And also, Kings Island's Nighttime Spectacular returns the Friday. So that's what, the 23rd.
Yeah, the start of 10 p.m. closings.
We were lucky to get that back from all accounts that we've heard. So I'm really excited about it. I've heard that it's a new show, but the description that has been circulating really sounds like last year's show. Because it talks about, celebrating your day at Kings Island. And that's kind of like what they did. I guess they could just change the drones and the lasers so they don't say 10th anniversary for Banshee anymore or whatever. But
yeah, it's I've got faith it's not a bad thing though. Yeah, not a bad thing if it's like last year. I really enjoyed last year's show.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the buzz going around, if you liked last year, you'll like this year. I loved last year's show, so I'm going to love this year's show.
It was good last year.
Yeah, so we'll after that Memorial Day weekend, we're going to have a lot of content for Tower Topics for the following couple days. Between that and
the next month, we'll have enough content.
Exactly. Let's move on to a segment we like to call Buy or Sell. So Buy or Sell, Don. The 2025 season will be the last season for Peanuts, and we'll see Looney Tunes taking over in 2026. Buy or sell.
Sell. Peanuts aren't going anywhere right now.
Yeah, we say right now simply because, first of all, they just signed a long-term contract not long ago, and second of all, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe it just makes so much more financial sense that, the Looney Tunes could come in, but I know they're happy with Peanuts. I think the guests are happy with Peanuts. So I would say that there's a non-zero chance that you'll see Peanuts at the Six Flags parks rather than this.
Yeah, I mean, Peanuts works at Kings Island. It works obviously at Knott's. It works at Cedar Point. Works at Valley Fair. Works at Canada's Wonderland. So I don't see any reason why they would want to change that right now.
And they'd be dumb too, because there's all the IP. They got TV specials for the Great Pumpkin. They've got Charlie Brown's Christmas. They got all that stuff, and it hands them content on a silver platter for all the special events. Looney Tunes doesn't have that stuff. Plus, kids don't know who those people are. I guess that was kind of true with Peanuts, but they made a resurgence. But yeah. I'm sticking.
I don't know that kids have to always. I mean, if it's somebody, something's in a character in a suit, kids kind of migrate to it.
Yeah, you should have just Gapper from the Reds instead. But
Gapper's popular.
But for me, like I knew who the Peanuts were, but I bet if I grew up in this era, I would probably think of Charlie Brown as a Kings Island character rather than a character from this cartoon that I can meet at Kings Island. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
Let's move on to some theme park headline news. All right. Then our friends at the National Roller Coaster Museum and Archives, the NRCMA, the world's largest collection of historic amusement ride vehicles and memorabilia, has successfully raised the funds to save and preserve 4 historic coaster cars from across North America, all thanks to ride enthusiasts from around the world. The vehicles that fans helped the museum rescue from the scrapyard are King Dakar, that's from Six Flags Great Adventure, was the world's tallest and second fastest roller coaster. Nighthawk, retired from Carowinds, it's the world's first flying roller coaster. Is it La Vibora?
Yes.
Okay, that's retired from Six Flags Over Texas. It was the last Swiss Bob, so that was like a bobsled roller coaster. Time Warp, one of a handful of Voltaire coasters to be installed around the world. That was from Canada's Wonderland. Mm-hmm. And that was probably the most loathed of all rides I've ever heard. That opened as Tomb Raider, the ride, and like right around the time Tomb Raider opened at Kings Island. Nobody is shedding a tear for that ride.
No, but the National Roller Coaster Museum and Archives, they're doing a great job securing all of these ride vehicles and that from rides that are long gone but not forgotten. And it's really coming together with the museum. And sometimes, I get asked like, yeah, but can you buy a ticket? Could I go anytime I want to? Not right now, but there's going to come that time when you're going to be able to do that. And I think it's great that, all these coaster enthusiasts from, really, around the globe, stepped up, contributed to make this happen.
I can't believe how quickly they raised all the money. I saw they put out an all call on Facebook, and they the next day they had 2 of the 4 saved, and I'm guessing just a couple days later they had the other one saved. But kudos to them, and good luck to the National Roller Coaster Museum. That's going to be a fantastic facility to all people that are interested in theme parks. We'll be right back with the listener questions. All right, first listener question. Eddie from Piketon, Ohio, said, "Hi, Don. With your history at KI, I'm wondering what your insight is on all the Son of Beast teasers KI has been putting out over the past few years. Rivertown Mining Company, aka RMC, Number 5 is Alive, and a number of other teasers for a possible Son of Beast revival. Do you think KI would do all this if they didn't intend to do a ground-up RMC remake, or are they messing with us SOB and RMC fans? Thank you, sir. Dig the show."
Nobody at Kings Island is behind that, doing that. This comes from some people at the at the corporate office planning and design, and that when they do some different things around the park, they like to to drop those little Easter eggs and things in. They know it's going to get people going. There's nothing to Son of Beast, a revival of it being rebuilt or anything like that. RMC, it's just not going to happen. I think, you're going to be very disappointed if you're holding out hope for that, because it's just not going to be there. But nobody at the park would even, there's nobody left, really, in certain, that would be responsible for some stuff going on in the park, and that was signage and that would even, know how to play these teasers and get people going. So that's all coming from above, outside of the park level, with some of those things that you might see being dropped in just because they know it's going to get people talking.
The person that does these things has a sense of humor. They're also not a decision maker.
No. They know it's going to get people talking. We'll just leave it at that. But you're right; they're very talented, do a great job. It gets people talking. But if you're hoping, holding out for hope of Son of Beast returning one day, that's just not going to happen.
Rory from Houston, Texas said, "There's been some talk about a new theme park possibly coming to Houston. We used to have Astroworld, but unfortunately, Six Flags ran it into the ground. Do you think there's any truth to these rumors?"
I think, and I know that there are, multiple groups that have eyed Houston as a possible place to build a new theme park. Obviously it's going to, cost a substantial amount of money to do that. So where, who's got the pockets to do it? I think that's the biggest question. But I do know there is interest from, multiple groups in Houston. It's, the fourth largest market, out there in the United States. So if any place, could support a theme park, it would be Houston, you would think. I do know that a lot of people, they do miss Astroworld. I know there was a survey that was recently done. There was one of the colleges did some kind of a survey, and that was one of the things that people said they'd love to see come to Houston. Was a theme park again. So I don't know how realistic it is. I just know that because of the market, the size, and everything, that those that are interested in getting into the theme park business, are looking at it. But it just, what kind of investors do you have? And, you got to have some deep pockets involved to build something. So we'll see. But I think it would be, several years off before you'd see that. But certainly, don't rule it out.
What would happen is it would be a real estate investor would buy the land, probably fund it, and then they'd have Six Flags or somebody like that operate it, and then ultimately sell it to them. But I don't see Six Flags opening any new parks under their own accord. No. I could see the Six Flags Qiddiya thing possibly, where they slap their name on it. There's an operating agreement, something like that, but they're not going to do ground up. I don't think they have the resources to do that anymore.
No. But that was a good market. There was a time when Astroworld was really well run. It was, great attendance and everything. So, what was good once could be good again.
I know that there are, if you look at Dennis Spiegel's newsletter for International Theme Park Services, there are groups every month that say that they're exploring. Something's going to pop. That market is just too good and it's too underserved.
Yeah, Houston and Nashville are the two places I think that, would be possibilities for new theme parks to go into in the future.
Yeah. Tyler from Lebanon, Ohio said, "Don, I enjoyed your article on your blog about Holiday World having better blue ice cream than Kings Island. I agree. Not only does theirs taste better, but the portion size is bigger too. What do you think has the better water park between Holiday World and Kings Island?"
Well, it's Holiday World. It's not even close. You got 3 water coasters there that are, over 1,700 feet long. They've won awards for those water coasters. So they're considered some of the best in the world. It's a pretty big place. Lots of activities, lots of water slides and that, for guests of all ages to enjoy. It's got really good food, good restaurants, in the water park. So, for me, it's not even debatable which one's better. I mean, Holiday World has the better water park.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody make the argument that Soak City is better than Splash and Safari. If you haven't been to Splash and my God, if you're a water park person, what are you doing if you haven't been to Splash and Safari yet? But 3 water coasters, huge
Yeah,
kids area, just countless body slides, huge wave pool. It's really good. Now I'm grateful for what we have at Soak City, and it is big and it is
I mean
extensive.
it's good. Soak City's good. Don't get me wrong. I mean it's good, but it's not on the same level that you have at Holiday World.
Not even they're not even on the same shelf. Don, I think I'm going to tell them about the T-shirt this time.
Talk about the T-shirt. Go ahead.
Tower Topics T-shirts. They're available in a wicked green color, and they're available for $22. That includes your shipping. If you're interested in one, the best way to get it is to send Don an email at donhelbig@themeparksbydon.com, and then in the email, say your name, your shipping address, as well as your size, your T-shirt size. I had trouble remembering all that. And then he'll send you a QR code for Venmo. You'll do the transaction, and then you'll get your shirt in just a couple days. If you're not an email person for some reason, you can just shoot us a DM on X Tower_Topics while you're there. Give us a follow if you haven't yet. But we have Tower Topics T-shirts for $22, and we have Tower Topics vinyl stickers in 2 different sizes. More information in the Tower Topics Facebook group.
Or if you're interested in stickers, just email, or message us through those same avenues that Ryan just gave you, and we'll give you those sizes of those stickers, those vinyl stickers, and what the price is. I actually had somebody, Ryan, this week that reached out and said, "Is it possible to get a Tower Topics T-shirt in a toddler size?" And
all
it is
sizes,
all sizes,
absolutely.
right? Yeah. So if you have a little toddler, um, we can get a shirt for them too.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.